Hi, listeners. This is Joanna from Mindful Counseling, also known as GDS Counseling. It's been a while since I've been here, and I think as the new year comes to a start, maybe there are some of the things that we would like to focus on or at least prioritize. And one of those prioritized things is maybe self-care. So I've noticed that I've been absent for some time, and there are reasons for it, more personal reasons. And maybe with time, I will get into them specifically. I think a little space was more so dedicated towards self, family, and really deep down what is important when it comes to sense of security, sense of stability, sense of mindful sort of action when it comes to own needs and those of others. So I'll open this sort of listening episode based on how would you like to start your year, or how did you start your year already? Now, I do notice, and I'm not saying this is not important, but I do notice that a lot of us have a tendency to come up with New Year's resolutions. And we always do that in the beginning of the year. And then somewhere in there, either we fall and struggle to get up or things get in the way. So I always like to tell others as well as myself is that your resolution does not necessarily need to start in the beginning of the year. It's when would you like to make a change? When is it that you would like to do something about you? When do you feel like it is right? So that you're not consumed by this quote unquote responsibility, but that you can look at quote unquote resolution as kind of something for me. Not a responsibility or a task, but more of maybe spoiled sense of self, if we want to look at it, right? A lot of us want to pursue something that we feel like we struggle to commit, whether it is most common one, I think, that I hear a lot is being more positive or exercising more or eating healthy. And they are great sort of motivators. And I think a lot of times we are challenged with these pursuits because of, and this goes back into probably most of the things that I express in episodes, is the daily responsibilities, the tasks, the constant rushness of things, the running around. We're always running around. I rarely meet people who are more still than running around. I think if I reflect on some of the things from, now this is really based on my age, whether I share it or not share it, I don't mind sharing it. One of those people, I don't mind sharing my age. I am 44. So if I reflect on certain things, on how things were in my teens or when I was a kid, granted, no electronics, TV only had a 2-channel sort of station. And it was really all about being more relaxed. And I'm saying this for myself. I can't speak for anyone else. But we didn't have the rushness. We were able to enjoy. And nowadays, what I notice a lot, and maybe it's where I live, but sometimes even when I travel, I know there's a saying, grass is greener on the other side, but I think even when one commits towards a particular living situation or place or country or state, I think there's always going to be some form of moving. I do believe that movement is an important part of us. I think it pushes us, maybe motivates us. And I think to be still, meaning on the borderline, not doing anything, because it's also not necessarily the greatest. So again, let's go back to the rushness of things and resolutions, and how can one take care of themselves or prioritize maybe certain things that have to do with, a lot of times what I hear again comes selfishness, right? That if I take care of me, it's selfish. Either I believe that I am selfish about it, or others somehow feel like it is, oh, how dare she or he do that. So I think we also have to learn how to have a great sense of healthy narcissism to address that. What I'm doing is for me. And I think that's something that needs to sync with a lot of us. I think there's a difference between taking care of self or running away from certain things by indulging in something. And maybe I'll save that for another conversation, because it is also a coping mechanism, right? In order to step away from something, to deal with something. And I guess that goes into two separate notes, either indulging in something that's unhealthy or healthy. I think we're always trying to deal with something. We're always trying to cope with something. We're always trying to maybe defend something as a way to protect ourselves. So going back into these New Year resolutions, if one might say, is what are some of the things that you think you can do for yourself with enough of amounts of that balance, right? Don't just go ahead and say, I'm going to hit the gym 6 days a week, or I am going to do something, whatever it may be, every single day. Because for some people, whether it's more or less, that can also backfire at us, right? We indulge or we throw ourselves into something so much that we can become tired and exhausted. So have a balance when it comes to doing things for yourself, whether it's what you eat, how you exercise. One of my most common things that I feel like I say a lot is, especially when it comes to exercise, and I'll just focus on that one because I feel like I hear this one a lot, especially in the beginning of the year, is gym is not for everyone. And I think it's one of those things that we have to kind of learn and explore, that just because it's there, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to do it because everybody else does it. I think exercise is important. I think it's the way we exercise and the way we, especially as we age, I think, motivate our bodies, push our bodies, get our heart rate going. How do we pump ourselves up? So going back to that quote unquote, what I said, a gym is not for everyone, is that you may pay for a membership and just not go because it may not be for you, which means that you have to find something else that might be your thing. It could be yoga instead of gym. Maybe it's being outside and doing some form of activities outdoors and not indoors. And that also includes winter. I think the other part of it too is that we are so afraid of winter, or at least most people are, because it's so cold. And yes, in fact, there's few limitations when it comes to winter because of whether it's ice or snow or coldness. But I think there's definitely a huge benefit in being outdoors in winter, doing things outdoor in winter. So gym may not be for everyone, but it's the part of learning how to find something of yours. Maybe it's biking. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe physical sort of movement is not necessarily so important for you. Maybe it's the cognitive, maybe it's the mental, right? Again, not to dismiss the physical, but it's learning, what is this thing that I would like to do, right? What is this thing that maybe I did back in the day and I would like to resume it? What about something that I would like to learn? Maybe I want to sort of stimulate my brain in different ways. So that way I'm not in my comfort of whatever it may be, stagnation, right? Not doing or continuing to run around because, quote unquote, we have to. We live in a busy world. Things are always expected of us. And not even that. I think we also put very high expectations on ourselves, on how we need to be. And that taps into comparing self to others. So by me talking to you today, it's more based on self-reflecting, not necessarily comparing, but self-reflecting that it's okay, that what you do is for you. And some people may not like it or may judge or criticize, whatever the thoughts may be. It is really hard to sometimes commit towards something that you want, right? Because it is just for you. Sometimes for a lot of people, it's easier to commit towards something what others are doing because it's a sense of belonging, identifying. So think about it just for this moment, just for today. What is this one thing that you feel like you already started or you would like to start? There is no timeline in this. Your time is your time. Whether it's once a week, whether it's 3 times a week. There's no right or wrong here. What is it that you would like to do for yourself, even if it's dedicating 30 minutes for yourself in something that you would like to explore, do to take care of yourself, for your own physical self, for your own mental self, emotional self. By having something of your own allows you to balance yourself and to take care of whatever the other needs may be. Because I guarantee the other needs will always be there. Other responsibilities will always be there. The one that most people have a tendency to put aside or on hold is the self. So think about it. And for now, until next time, take care, my listeners.